is just our lifestyle now. And so it's just part of our everyday. It's more than just about food for us with health and wellness. I know we talked a lot about food, but it's so much more than that.
Since this is a homeschool podcast, and of course we're talking about raising our kids and homeschooling them, and we've talked about leaving a legacy for our kids and what that looks like. You are so intentional about that, and I love that. How do you, in thinking about the legacy that you want to leave for your kids, not just spiritually, but physically as well, how do you incorporate them into the decisions that you make as a family when it comes to health and wellness? Because you really do. I mean, we have such a beautiful opportunity in homeschooling our kids to involve them in these decisions that we make. So how do you do that with your kids?
I think it's important to remember, ultimately, these children are given to us by the Lord to nurture and to steward, and they are blessings, and we should be careful to the things that we're teaching them and the values that we're instilling in them. And for us, this is, as we had talked before, this is just our lifestyle now. And so it's just part of our everyday. It's more than just about food for us with health and wellness. I know we talked a lot about food, but it's so much more than that. It's centered around every part of our life. And so we're including our children in not decisions that we make. Like, the decisions that we make are between Noah and I, and he's the head of our home, and we are one, but we include our children in the way of we're explaining to them why we do the things that we do. So, even just down to like the cleaning products that we use, like being able to say, like, this is why we use this, and this is why we don't use these. Like, this is how these ingredients affect your body. But also pointing out to them, because we don't live in a bubble, right? And so our children go, for instance, soccer and soccer snacks. There's a balance there of all of the things that parents want to give kids for their soccer snacks. And we have to kind of tell our children, like, okay, you can have some of that, but you're not going to have this. And then also listen to your body. How do you feel after you ate those 3 Oreos or whatever it is, because oftentimes they're not feeling the greatest. And so being able to point that out, saying, like, look how that made your tummy feel. Like, that doesn't feel great, does it? And so just kind of like not creating a shame around the way other people choose to live. It's, we do things because we're convicted in that way to do them, and it's important to us, and we see the value in that, and we see the reward in that. So there's no shame in the way that other people live. There's no judgment, but also instilling in our kids, like, this is why we do it. And we do it because we want to honor the bodies that the Lord has given us. Our bodies are our temple, and this is what we believe to be the best for us. And so I think just creating an understanding around that, and being able to include them in the small parts of our homestead journey. Like, our dog just had puppies, and like them being able to care for something other than themselves, and seeing our chickens go from chicks to hens that are laying eggs, and having them being able to go out and get an egg from the backyard and crack it in the pan like 2 minutes after the chicken laid it. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing for our kids to be able to see. And then also, like, seeing death, and that's a part of homestead life too. And I think our kids have like an emotional maturity that a lot of kids these days are kind of sheltered from. People try and say that homeschool kids are like not socialized, they're sheltered. And to some extent, like, yeah, we shelter our kids for intentional purposes because we don't want a lot of the world's influences to get to our children. But like, it could not be farther from the truth that homeschool kids are sheltered and unsocialized.
Yeah.
Our kids see so much more than they would if they were inside of a building for 40 hours a week.
That's so good. And I like your approach in that you're saying this is the conviction God has given us in our family, because we talk about that a lot with our kids, and we failed when they were little because we were like, this is right, that's wrong. Like, this is eating that way is wrong, or living that way, and like it says in Romans, you know, like we're not going to judge the whole eating meat versus not eating meat. You know, it talks about in the word and not passing judgment on someone else that doesn't live that lifestyle, but more educating people and also just telling your kids, this is the decision we've made for you because God has put us over you to take care of you the way that we feel is best, rather than casting judgment on those that live differently and just honoring their journey. And I like your approach to that and helping your kids have that balance, because they are going to go out in the world. And if this is their cross to die on, then they might not be heard, you know, in the bigger issues. So I really like that balance. And I think that that's a biblical balance. I see too many of the generation that's we get in this mommy wars, right? Like I would never with my kid. And so it's just beautiful how you guys have that real balance with your kids and you're giving them the why, you know, why. We talk a lot on this podcast about knowing the why that we do what we do, and you're giving them the why that we're doing this. And that's awesome.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.